the scar that never lets them forget. Before we dive into this journey, press that like button, subscribe, and stay with me till the end, because what you're about to realize will shift how you see rejection forever. Hey folks, imagine this. You give someone your favorite jacket on a freezing night. They smirk, toss it aside, and say, "I don't need it." So you shrug, pick it back up, and walk away. At first, they feel fine, brave, strong. But as the night grows colder, as the wind starts biting, they begin to shiver. Suddenly they remember the warmth they once held, but so carelessly dismissed. That jacket, that was your presence. That warmth, that was your voice, your care, your loyalty. And the cold they're now shivering in, that's your silence. That's the scar they're left with. You see, people lie to themselves about silence. They say silence means you've quit. They say silence is running away. They say silence means you've lost. But no, my friends, silence is not running. It's rising. It's the decision to say, "I won't fight for a seat at a table that was never worthy of me in the first place." As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." They expected you to fight, to argue, to post cryptic quotes, to beg for another chance. That's what they're used to. That's what feeds their ego. But instead, you went still. You vanished. You reclaimed your power in silence. And now they can't stand it, because nothing makes people more uncomfortable than the quiet echo of their own choices. Think of it like this. You're at a party, music blasting, people laughing, conversations flowing. Suddenly, the power goes out. Everything stops. No sound, no light, just silence. Everyone freezes. That eerie, unsettling feeling creeps in. That's what your silence does to them. They thought walking away from you would feel like freedom. Instead, it feels like that blackout, a scar on their peace, a reminder of what they lost. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. When they rejected you, they weren't rejecting you. They were rejecting the mirror you held up to their soul. They saw your loyalty, your care, your willingness to stay through storms, and deep down it scared them. Because they weren't ready for something real. So they pushed you away thinking they'd be fine. But now they're realizing you weren't just another person in their life. You were the anchor. You were the safe place. You were the calm in their chaos. And without you, their ship is sinking slowly, silently. But I know what you're thinking. If I stay silent, don't I look weak? Don't I look like I don't care? That's the lie your pain tells you, my friend. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strength, disguised as stillness. Anyone can scream, anyone can argue, but it takes a strong soul to say nothing and let absence do the talking. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." And you chose to be unshakable. You chose dignity. You chose peace. So here's where it gets fun. While they're out there trying to convince the world how happy they are, scrolling through distractions, forcing smiles for cameras, silence keeps tugging at them. It shows up when they least expect it, in a song, in a memory, in the quiet moments before sleep. And suddenly they're reminded of the one thing they can't get back, you. That's why silence is the scar they can't heal, because it follows them everywhere. So right now, I want you to make a vow. Say it with me. Write it in the comments. Silence leaves scars. Short, powerful, unforgettable. Let it be your mantra. Let it be your reminder that you don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to fight to be remembered. You just need to stay silent and let time expose the truth. And remember this, your silence is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your strength. Silence leaves scars, my friends. Go ahead, write it down. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because what's coming next will open your eyes even more. Number 1, rejection was a wound, but silence becomes a scar. Time heals wounds, but it never erases scars. Let that sink in for a moment, my friends. Rejection, yes, it hurts like a knife to the chest. It feels sharp, immediate, raw. But here's the truth they never tell you. Rejection is temporary. It bruises, it cuts. But with time, the sting fades. What doesn't fade? What doesn't go away? Your silence. Your silence doesn't just pass through them, it brands them. It becomes the scar they can't cover, can't hide, can't explain away. Imagine this. Someone gets scratched by a thorn. At first it burns, it bleeds. They cry out in pain. But a week later, the cut begins to close. A month later, it's healed. But look closely. What do you see? A thin line across their skin, a mark etched into them forever. That scar doesn't bleed anymore, but it whispers every time they look at it. It reminds them of a choice, a moment, an action they can never undo. That's your silence to them now. It's not a wound that bleeds, it's a scar that lingers. And here's where it gets uncomfortable for them. When they rejected you, they thought it was the end. They thought, okay, I cut this off, I move forward, I'll be fine. They didn't expect silence to be so loud. They didn't expect absence to weigh more than presence. They didn't expect that the real pain wouldn't be the rejection itself, but the quiet that followed. And now the questions start clawing at them in the dark. Why haven't they reached out? Why didn't they fight for me? Why do I feel emptier now than I did before? Did I just lose the one thing that made me whole? Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And my friends, their thoughts are now stained with silence. That scar is permanent because it doesn't exist on their body. It exists in their mind. It's a reminder every time they're alone, every time the phone doesn't light up, every time they scroll back to old conversations they swore didn't matter. Every time they lie in bed, wondering why the peace they thought they'd find never arrived. But let's break a lie here, because I know what's circling in your mind. You think silence means weakness. You think silence means you lost. You think silence means you weren't good enough to be fought for. That's the biggest trap of rejection, the belief that love must be proven louder, longer, harder. But Epictetus gave us the truth. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. It's not the silence that hurts you, it's what you tell yourself about the silence. You've been taught to believe that silence equals defeat. No, my friend, silence equals power. Think of it this way. Imagine a courtroom. Everyone's shouting, the lawyers, the witnesses, the crowd. Chaos fills the room. But then the judge raises their hand and says nothing. Suddenly the entire room goes quiet. Who had the real power? Not the ones screaming, not the ones pointing fingers. The one who stayed silent, who didn't need to prove, who commanded respect by doing nothing at all. That's what you've done. And that silence is the scar they carry now, because it showed them something they weren't ready to face. You didn't need them to define your worth. Of course, it's not easy. Of course, you'll feel the urge to break it, to send that just checking in text, to see if they're okay, to remind them of the love you gave so freely. That's natural, that's human. But let me ask you, what would that really do? Would it heal you? Or would it just cover their wound while keeping your own open? That's why silence is so hard, because it forces you to sit with your own fear while forcing them to sit with their regret. And trust me, they are sitting with it. Because the scar is not about pain, it's about permanence. They can distract themselves with friends, fill their days with noise, even jump into the arms of someone new. But late at night, when the laughter fades and the noise dies down, they look in the mirror and see it. That mark your silence left. And it whispers, you had something real. You let it go. Think about it. If rejection was final, why do people come back months later? Why do they suddenly check in after you've gone silent? It's because wounds close, but scars itch. And the scar of your silence is something they'll scratch at for years to come. They'll tell themselves stories, they'll justify, they'll even pretend it never mattered. But silence is the kind of scar that doesn't disappear under the makeup of lies. It's always there, beneath the surface, waiting to remind them of what they threw away. Now let's turn the spotlight back to you. Why does this matter? Because you need to see your silence not as surrender, but as strategy. Not as weakness, but as wisdom. You're not hiding, you're healing. You're not defeated, you're disciplined. You're not running, you're rising. And every day you stay silent, you write your worth, not with words, but with presence withheld. That's something they can never take from you. So here's what I want you to do right now. Say this with me. Write it in the comments. Show yourself. Show the world. Show anyone who ever doubted you. My silence is their scar. 4 words. Powerful. Permanent. Let that be your shield, your sword, your reminder. Because when they look back, when the memories play in their mind, when they try to cover the truth with distractions, that scar will still whisper. And it will whisper your silence louder than their rejection ever did. Stay with me, because this is just the beginning. The scar is permanent, but wait until you see what happens when they realize no matter what they do, they can't heal it. That's where the story really begins. Number 2, the scar they can't hide in public. What is invisible to the eye is often what weighs the heaviest on the soul. Remember that, my friends, because that's the truth they're living with now. Out in the world, in front of cameras, among friends, in their curated highlight reel of smiling photos and fake laughter, they'll look just fine. Maybe even better than fine. They'll look like rejection was the best decision they ever made, like they're glowing without you. But here's the reality they can't hide. Scars don't show up in selfies. Scars live under the skin, and silence has carved one into them so deep, it follows them wherever they go. Think about it. What's easier? To admit to the world, I pushed away the one person who truly saw me, and now I can't stop regretting it. Or to laugh a little louder, pose with new people, throw filters over the truth, and pretend nothing happened. They choose the second option, of course, but that doesn't erase the scar. It only hides it. And the thing about scars is, they always resurface. Picture this, folks. You're at the beach. Someone tries to cover a scar on their arm with sand. They pat it down, pile more and more on, and for a moment it looks gone. But then the tide comes in. The waves crash, the sand washes away, and there it is again. The scar, exposed, unhealed, undeniable. That's them now. They can pile on distractions, noise, people, work, parties, travel, but eventually the tide of silence always returns. And your absence shows up like that scar that refuses to fade. And here's the part they'll never confess out loud. Every time they smile for a picture, every time they brag about moving on, every time they perform happiness for an audience, there's a whisper inside. Why do I still feel empty? Why didn't silence set me free? Why do I feel chained to what I walked away from? They thought rejection was their fresh start. Instead, your silence became the ink stain they can't wash out. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And whether they admit it or not, their thoughts are dyed with you now. Not because you begged, not because you fought, but because you didn't. Because your silence became the backdrop of their life, and every performance of joy now sits against that canvas. They can't hide it from themselves, even if they try to hide it from the world. But let's break the lie. Society feeds you. People tell you, if they look happy, they must be happy. Wrong. Social media is not truth. It's theater. Public laughter isn't always joy. Sometimes it's camouflage. They're not thriving without you. They're auditioning for everyone else, hoping if they play the role long enough, they'll start to believe it. But the scar always betrays them, because no matter how loud they laugh, silence screams louder when they're alone. Here's what's haunting them, your words, the small ones. the unnoticed ones. When you said, "Get home safe," when you checked on them without being asked, when you reminded them they mattered on days they didn't even see it themselves. Those weren't just words. They were a net, a safety, a constant. Now that you've gone silent, those words replay not as background noise, but as echoes. And the cruel twist? They replay louder now that they're gone. The scar is not your voice, but the absence of it. That's what cuts deepest. Think about this metaphor. Imagine a city where a fountain once flowed in the middle of the square. People walked by every day, barely noticing it, taking for granted the sound of water, the peace it created. Then one day the fountain stops. At first they don't care. Maybe they even feel relieved. It's quiet. But soon the silence grows heavy. People notice the absence. The square feels different, emptier. And suddenly they realize that fountain wasn't just background. It was the heartbeat of the place. That's you. They thought you were just noise, replaceable, ordinary. But now that you're gone, silence has become the scar in their square, reminding them every single day that something vital is missing. But why is this so hard for you? Because when you see them out there smiling, posting, living, a part of you wonders, am I the only one hurting? Did my silence mean nothing? Are they really free while I'm here carrying the weight? My friend, that's the illusion of performance. Never confuse the mask with the truth. The scar is there even if you can't see it. And scars don't fade because of selfies. They linger, especially the scars left by silence. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." And right now, they crave the comfort they once shrugged off. They crave the steady presence they thought they didn't need. They crave the peace your silence once carried when you were present. And that craving is poverty, no matter how rich their life looks on the outside. So here's the motivation I want you to take with you. Don't be fooled by the theater. Don't let their mask trick you into breaking your silence, because every day you stay quiet, the scar grows deeper. Every day you withhold your voice, the echo gets louder. Every day you resist the urge to step back into the role they took for granted, you remind them that scars don't fade just because they want them to. They chose this. They carved this. Now they must live with it. And this is where your power truly shines. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to argue with their mask. You don't need to chase or explain. Your silence is the proof. It's the scar. It's the unshakable evidence that you are no longer their comfort zone. And that scar, it's not your burden. It's their reminder. So right now, my friends, let's raise this together. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments so the world knows, so you know. I don't need to be seen to be remembered. That's your affirmation today. 4 simple words that shatter the lie that your value depends on their recognition. Because you, my friend, are unforgettable. And they, no matter how hard they try, will never be able to hide the scar your silence left behind. Stay with me because we're only getting started. That scar they carry in silence. It's about to grow louder, sharper, and harder to ignore. And the next part, oh, that's when their own thoughts become the prison they can't escape. You won't want to miss it. Number 3, when your voice disappears, their thoughts grow loud. In silence, the loudest echoes are born. Remember this, my friends, because silence is not emptiness. Silence is not a void. Silence is not nothingness. Silence is a stage, and on that stage, their thoughts begin to perform plays they never wanted to watch. When your voice disappears, when your laughter, your check-ins, your late night, did you eat, and get home safe, fade into quiet, their mind doesn't rest. It roars. And the irony? They thought rejection would free them from your voice. They thought silence would be their relief. Instead, silence has turned their own thoughts against them. Imagine it like this, folks. You've been living next to a river your whole life. The sound of rushing water is always there. It's so constant that you stop noticing it. It becomes background. But then one day, the river dries up. No sound, no flow, just silence. Suddenly the quiet is unbearable. You can't sleep, you can't focus, you can't relax. Why? Because the absence of that sound makes you realize how much you depended on it to feel at peace. That's what your silence has become for them. They never noticed your voice until it was gone. Now it's missing, and their mind is filling that absence with regret. They replay your words in their head. Not the big declarations, not the "I love you" moments. No, it's the small, ordinary things. The way you noticed they were tired before anyone else did. The way you asked about their day without needing a reason. The way you said goodnight like it actually mattered. Those words seemed so small back then, so routine. Now those same words echo in their mind like bells in an empty cathedral. And here's the part they can't stand. They'll never hear them again, not from you. Silence has closed the door, and their thoughts are pounding on it, begging for it to open. And let's be honest, my friends, this is where your own doubts creep in. You check their social media, you see them smiling, and you ask yourself, if my silence is so powerful, why do they look so happy? Why aren't they breaking like I am? Did they even care? That's the lie silence plays on your own wounds. Don't confuse their performance with their truth. Because silence doesn't torture them in public, it tortures them in private. The show is for the world. The scars, the echoes, the sleepless nights. That's what happens when the curtain falls. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But here's the twist. They don't have power over their mind right now. Your silence has hijacked it. It has turned into a constant whisper in the background of their life. They'll try to drown it out with noise, with company, with distractions. But silence doesn't disappear when you drown it. It just waits. And the moment they're alone, in the shower, in the car, in bed at night, it rises again. That's when they hear you, not through your words, but through the echo of the words you're no longer speaking. Now, why does this happen? Why does silence grow so loud? Because human beings can't stand unfinished patterns. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, when the brain can't reconcile the story it's telling with the reality it's living. They told themselves you'd always be there. They told themselves they could reject you and still have your attention, your loyalty, your orbit. But when you went silent, that pattern shattered. Their brain is now desperate to close the loop, to solve the riddle, to answer the unspoken question. Why aren't they calling? Did I matter at all? Did I misjudge them? Did I just lose something I can never replace? And those questions don't vanish, they get louder. Think of it like this. Imagine a song playing on the radio. Suddenly it cuts off mid-chorus. No ending, no resolution. You can't get it out of your head because your brain is wired to want completion. That's what your silence has done. It cut off the song they thought would always play in the background of their life. And now they hum the unfinished tune in their mind, over and over, searching for the ending that will never come. But I know you. I know what you're thinking. If their thoughts are so loud, why don't they just reach out? Why don't they just admit it? Why don't they just say they miss me? Because pride is a prison. Because ego is a chain. They'd rather let their thoughts scream in silence than confess to themselves, or to you, that they made a mistake. That scar you left is easier to hide than to heal, and so they sit with it. They post, they laugh, they pretend. But every day those thoughts grow louder, and silence keeps feeding them. Epictetus reminded us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. And what did you choose, my friends? You chose dignity, you chose discipline, you chose silence. And because of that, they are now the ones trapped in the noise of their own regret. They are the ones losing sleep, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out why the peace they thought they'd gain from rejection has turned into torment. But here's where it becomes difficult for you. Silence doesn't only echo in their head, it echoes in yours too. You start to question, did my silence really matter? Should I have said more? Should I have fought harder? That's natural. But let me tell you the truth, closure isn't given, it's chosen. You don't need their confession to validate your worth. You don't need their words to prove your value. Your silence is the closure. Their thoughts are the consequence, and the scar is the evidence. So let me motivate you right now. Don't break the silence just to hear what you already know. Don't trade your peace for their temporary validation. You don't need to remind them of your worth. Life will. Silence already has. And every day that passes, every night they lie awake, every morning they wake up to the echo of what you used to say. That's the scar reminding them. You are not forgotten. You are unforgettable. Say this with me, my friends. Say it with your whole chest. Write it in the comments. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it. I speak loudest in silence, because that's the truth. Your silence has become their scar, their echo, their haunting. And the louder their world looks on the outside, the louder your silence is on the inside. Stay with me, because this is only the beginning. If their thoughts are loud now, wait until regret shows up like an uninvited guest at their door. That's when silence stops being just a scar and starts becoming their constant companion. And that, my friends, is where the story gets even deeper. Number 4. Regret arrives like an unwanted guest. Regret doesn't knock before it enters. It just walks in and makes itself at home. That's the truth most people run from, my friends. At first, rejection feels powerful. It feels clean, simple, liberating. They think, I made the right choice. I cut them off. I'm free. And for a short while, maybe they even believe it. They post the selfies, they laugh with friends, they convince themselves they've upgraded their life by removing you. But regret isn't in a hurry. Regret doesn't rush in with sirens and flashing lights. Regret waits, and when the room is quiet, when the noise has died down, that's when it shows up. Imagine this, folks. A person throws out an old coat. It's worn, it's familiar, it doesn't seem special anymore. They toss it aside like it means nothing. At first, they don't miss it. They buy something new, something shiny. But then one night, the cold creeps in. They reach for warmth, and it's not there. They think about that coat, not because it was fancy, but because it was theirs. It was the one that always kept them warm without fail. That's when regret arrives, and once it shows up, it doesn't leave. That's exactly how your silence creeps in on them. They thought rejection would give them peace. Instead, it gave them emptiness. And slowly, that emptiness starts whispering questions they can't escape. Why do I feel lonelier now? Why doesn't this new attention feel the same? Did I throw away the one thing that was real? Did I mistake loyalty for weakness? Those questions are the voice of regret, and the scar your silence left behind makes sure those questions echo louder every day. Seneca once said, "Regret is the past, crippling the present." And that's exactly what's happening to them. Their present moments aren't clean anymore. They're stained. Every time they smile, the memory of what they pushed away creeps into the corner of their mind. Every time they try to enjoy themselves, regret pulls at the edges of their joy. They thought rejection would free them, but what they're realizing is this: they didn't run from you. They ran straight into regret's arms. But why didn't they see it before? Why does regret always come late? Because people confuse relief with freedom. At first, rejection feels like relief. They feel lighter. They feel unchained. They mistake that sensation for happiness. But relief is temporary. Relief is shallow. Freedom is deeper. And what they find, slowly, painfully, is that true freedom doesn't come from cutting off someone who cared. It comes from recognizing value and building with it. They missed that chance, and now they're chained, not to you, but to the weight of their own decision. Picture this metaphor. Someone lights a candle in a dark room. The room fills with warmth and glow, but they blow it out, thinking the flame was unnecessary. At first, their eyes adjust. They think, I can handle the dark. But as hours pass, the darkness grows heavier, thicker. They start to stumble. They start to shiver. And then they remember that candle. They remember the light they dismissed. But it's too late. The wick is cold. The flame is gone. That's regret, my friends. And your silence is the darkness they can't handle anymore. Now, let me break a lie that often poisons your mind. You think, if they regret it, doesn't that mean I should go back? Doesn't that mean they see my worth now? That's the trap. Regret is not the same as change. Regret is an emotion. Change is action. They can regret losing you and still not know how to love you. They can regret pushing you away and still not be capable of valuing you. Don't confuse their scar with your responsibility. Their regret is not your job to soothe. Here's the hard truth. Sometimes regret is the only teacher people understand. They didn't listen to your words. They didn't value your presence, but silence forced them into a classroom they can't walk out of. And that scar is the chalkboard where regret writes its lessons every single day. They'll learn. Oh yes, they'll learn. But the lesson won't save them from the consequences. Think about it this way. You can hand someone water every day, but if they keep throwing the cup away, eventually they go thirsty. And when thirst sets in, regret teaches them what your words never could. Water was never guaranteed. You were never guaranteed. You were a choice, a blessing, a rare soul they thought they could replace. Now they're thirsty, and all they can taste is the dryness of regret. And here's what's powerful. You don't have to do a thing. Silence is doing the work for you. Silence doesn't beg. Silence doesn't explain. Silence doesn't try to prove. Silence just stands there like a mirror, forcing them to see the reflection of their own mistake. And the longer you stay silent, the clearer that reflection becomes. That's why regret grows heavier, not lighter. It's not fading for them, it's multiplying. But I know it's hard. I know you wonder, if they regret it, shouldn't I give them another chance? Shouldn't I heal the wound? No, my friend. That's where you must rise above the lie that your love must always be the bandage. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let someone sit with their pain, because only then do they learn the weight of their choices. If you return too soon, you steal the lesson from them. You rob them of the scar that was meant to change them. So stand firm. Don't break the silence just because regret is tugging at your empathy. Don't step back into the fire that already burned you once. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You've chosen to be unshakable. You've chosen to be dignified. You've chosen to be free. Let regret stay where it belongs, with them. Because here's the beauty. While regret cripples them, silence frees you. While they're stuck in yesterday, you're building today. While they're haunted by the past, you're walking into the future. That's the difference between regret and resilience. One looks back, the other moves forward. And you, my friend, are moving forward. So right now, I want you to anchor this truth. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments. Show the world. Show yourself. Show anyone who ever doubted you. Their regret is not my responsibility. 4 words that cut chains. 4 words that set you free. Let it echo in your chest. Let it be your shield when your empathy tries to pull you back into their pain. because what's coming next is even deeper. Regret is heavy, yes, but wait until they try to cover that scar with replacements, with distractions, with noise. That's when the truth hits hardest, because the scar your silence left can't be erased, no matter how hard they try. Stay with me, because the unraveling has only just begun. Number 5. Replacement never heals the scar. You can buy a new mask, but it won't change the face underneath. That's the reality they're facing now, my friends. After silence has already begun its slow, steady work, regret creeps in. And when regret becomes unbearable, when the scar of your absence begins to itch in ways they can't soothe, they try to cover it. They try to replace you. They think a new person, a new face, a new distraction will heal the scar your silence left. But scars aren't erased with substitutes. They are reminders, permanent marks. And no matter how many people they turn to, no matter how loud the laughter or how pretty the pictures, your silence is still there, beneath it all. Imagine this. Someone shatters a priceless vase. Instead of mourning what's been broken, instead of learning the weight of what they lost, they grab a cheap imitation from the store and put it on the same shelf. From a distance it looks fine. Visitors might even say, "That's beautiful." But every time the owner walks past, every time they glance at that shelf, they know it's not the same. They know the original is gone, and nothing will ever carry the same weight, the same history, the same irreplaceable beauty. That's what they're trying to do now. They're filling the shelf of their life with cheap imitations, hoping no one notices the scar your silence left. But they notice. Deep down, they always notice. And here's the trap you must avoid believing. When you see them posting with someone new, when you hear about their rebound, when you catch a glimpse of their life painted in smiles, you'll feel that familiar sting. You'll think, did I mean nothing? Have I been replaced? Did my silence not leave a mark at all? My friends, that's the lie. Because the truth is this, they're not replacing you, they're running from you. They're running from the scar that your silence carved into them, and they're hoping a distraction will make it fade. But scars don't fade with noise. They become more noticeable when you try to hide them. Think of it like painting over a cracked wall. Fresh paint might make it look good for a week, maybe even a month, but eventually the cracks bleed through. Eventually the wall reveals the truth beneath the cover, and that's what's happening to them now. They can paint over their scar with someone else's attention, but sooner or later the cracks will show. Because connection like yours doesn't come twice. Let me break another lie here, because I know your mind whispers it late at night. You think, if they can laugh with someone new, maybe they never loved me at all. Maybe I was just ordinary. No, my friend. Ordinary doesn't leave scars. Ordinary doesn't echo in silence. Ordinary doesn't force someone into distraction after distraction to try to erase the memory. What you gave them was depth. What you gave them was rare, and depth cannot be replaced with noise. Picture this metaphor. Someone loses the key to their home. Instead of retracing their steps, instead of cherishing what was lost, they try to carve a new one out of plastic. It fits in the lock, but it never turns. It looks like a key, but it doesn't open the door. That's what they're trying to do now. They're carving new keys out of temporary people, hoping one will unlock the piece they lost. But nothing fits, nothing works. Because you weren't just a key, you were the whole door. And once a door closes with silence, no copy can open it again. And here's where the fun irony hits. They'll smile bigger in pictures now. They'll laugh louder at jokes. They'll make a public show of how happy they are. But why so much effort? Why so much performance? Because they're not celebrating freedom. They're covering scars. They're not replacing you. They're trying to convince themselves that the void you left doesn't exist. But voids can't be filled with counterfeits. They stretch wider the more you deny them. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. And that's exactly what they are now. Poor. Not in money, not in status, but in spirit. Because no matter how much more they collect, more people, more parties, more attention, it never feels like enough. The craving itself betrays them. The craving itself is proof of the scar your silence left behind. And let's not lie, this is the hardest phase for you. Watching them flaunt someone new, watching them pretend to thrive, will test your resolve. You'll feel the urge to break silence, to remind them of who you were, to prove that you were irreplaceable. But you don't need to remind them, life already is. Every empty laugh they fake is a reminder. Every forced smile is a reminder. Every new connection that falls flat is a reminder. Your silence is proof enough. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone who threw it away. Here's what they'll never tell anyone. The new person doesn't feel the same. The jokes don't land the same. The conversations don't dig as deep. The comfort isn't as natural. They'll never admit it out loud. But every new moment feels like a comparison. Every laugh feels like an echo. Every embrace feels like a shadow of what once was. Because love, real love, doesn't vanish when you walk out. It lingers like a fingerprint on the soul, and they know it, they feel it, they live with it. But why is this important for you? Because you need to remember, replacement is not about you. It's about them. It's about their fear of facing the silence, their refusal to sit with regret, their desperation to avoid the mirror your absence has forced them to see. They're not running toward someone else. They're running away from themselves, and that's not your burden to carry. So let me motivate you, my friends. Don't let their distractions distract you. Don't let their counterfeits shake you. Don't let their noise drown out your peace, because you are not replaceable. You are not ordinary. You are the flame, the anchor, the one they can't stop comparing everything else to. And the longer you stay silent, the clearer it becomes to them. Right now, I want you to declare this for yourself. Say it. Write it in the comments. Let it echo not just in your heart, but in the world. I cannot be replaced. 4 words that turn scars into strength. 4 words that remind you of who you are. Because while they're out there chasing noise, you're building peace. While they're drowning in distractions, you're rising in dignity. And while they're trying to cover scars, you're becoming untouchable. Stay with me, because this isn't the end. Replacement is only the illusion before the collapse. Sooner or later, the novelty fades, the masks crack, the laughter dies down. And that's when they face the truth. The scar your silence left is permanent. And when the cover-ups fall away, the unraveling begins. And oh, my friends, that unraveling is something they won't be able to escape. Number 6. Silence turns into a mirror they can't face. The truth is like a mirror. Once it's shown, you can't unsee your reflection. Let that settle in, my friends, because this is what your silence has become for them. At first, it was just quiet. At first, they thought it was space. At first, they told themselves they were free. But silence doesn't just sit there passively. Silence transforms. Over time, it becomes a mirror. And when they look into that mirror, what they see is not your weakness, not your desperation, not your chasing. It's their own reflection staring back. Their choices, their mistakes, their arrogance, their loss, and they can't stand it. Imagine this. Someone avoids mirrors because they don't want to see the scar on their face. They get dressed in the dark. They laugh loudly in public. They tell themselves it doesn't exist. But then one day, they're forced to stand in front of a mirror. They can't avoid it. And suddenly, the scar they tried to ignore, the scar they thought was invisible, is staring back at them. That's what your silence does. It doesn't let them run from themselves anymore. It reflects every crack they tried to cover, every flaw they tried to hide, every truth they tried to bury. They thought silence meant you gave up. They thought silence meant weakness. They thought silence meant defeat. But the mirror doesn't lie. The mirror doesn't flatter. The mirror doesn't play games. The mirror shows the truth. And when your silence holds up that mirror, they see exactly who they are without you. That's the scar they can't heal. Not because you're punishing them, not because you're chasing revenge, but because absence reflects more than presence ever could. And here's the part they'll never admit. When you were there, they could project their flaws onto you. They could say, "You're too much, you're too needy, you're too emotional." They could point the finger, shift the blame, make it your problem. But now, with silence, there's no one left to blame. The mirror points back at them, and in that mirror, they see their own cowardice, their own pride, their own inability to hold on to something rare. Silence stripped away their excuses, and all that's left is reflection. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." But here's the problem. Most people don't want the truth. They want comfort. They want distraction. They want noise to cover the mirror. But silence doesn't offer that. Silence stands like polished glass in the middle of their life, waiting. And when they glance at it, even for a second, they're forced to confront what they lost. Think about it like this. You know those funhouse mirrors at carnivals? They distort your reflection, make you taller, shorter, wider. That's what they had when you were speaking, when you were trying to prove your worth. They could distort reality. They could twist the story. They could say, "I didn't lose much." But silence. Silence is not a funhouse mirror. Silence is glass, clear, sharp, unforgiving. It shows the exact outline of the scar, and they can't twist it away. And that's what makes silence so terrifying for them. It's not what you're doing, it's what you're not doing. You're not explaining, you're not apologizing, you're not pleading. And so the mirror doesn't bend, it doesn't move, it doesn't adjust to make them feel better, it just shows them. Every time they check their phone and see nothing, every time they wonder what you're doing and get no answer, every time they feel the quiet stretching between you like a chasm, the mirror whispers, "This is who you are, this is what you chose, this is what you lost." And my friends, don't think this reflection comes only in big moments. No, it sneaks in small ways. They walk past a place you once went together, and the mirror appears. They hear a song you once shared, and the mirror appears. They scroll through old pictures they swore they didn't care about, and the mirror appears. It's relentless. It's everywhere, because silence doesn't just follow them, it surrounds them. It turns ordinary life into a gallery of mirrors, each one reminding them of the truth they don't want to face. But here's where it gets harder for you. When they avoid the mirror, when they distract themselves with noise, when they run into the arms of others, you'll think, maybe they really don't care. Maybe the mirror means nothing to them. Maybe I was never important. That's your pain lying to you. The mirror never lies. The scar is still there. The reflection still haunts them. They may avoid it, but they can't erase it. And the more they run, the more obvious it becomes. Because you can't heal a scar by pretending it doesn't exist. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." That's their prison now. They thought they knew freedom. They thought they knew what life without you would be like. They thought they knew what they wanted. But silence shattered that illusion. The mirror revealed the truth. They didn't lose just anyone. They lost the anchor. They lost the peace. They lost the one person who gave meaning to their chaos. And now they can't unsee it. Let me give you another metaphor, because this one is powerful. Imagine a room filled with smoke. When you were present, you were the window cracked open, letting in fresh air. They didn't notice it. They thought it was nothing. But when you left, when silence sealed the window, the smoke thickened. They coughed, they choked, and suddenly they realized they needed that open window all along. Silence has now become that sealed room, and the mirror in the smoke reflects their every regret. And let me tell you something motivating. This is not about revenge. This is not about making them suffer. This is about clarity. Because while they're stuck staring into mirrors they can't face, you're building a life where you don't need mirrors to validate you. You know who you are. You know your worth. You know your silence isn't emptiness. It's discipline, dignity, and direction. So here's what I want you to do right now. Say it with me. Write it in the comments. Show the world. Show yourself. Show anyone who ever doubted you. My silence reflects their truth. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your strength. Because while they're busy avoiding mirrors, you're walking into the light. While they're haunted by scars, you're healing. While they're running from truth, you're embracing it. Stay close, my friends, because what comes next is even more powerful. The mirror is haunting, yes, but wait until their entire foundation begins to crumble. That's when the unraveling starts, and silence doesn't just reflect truth. It shakes their entire world apart, and you'll want to see exactly how that unfolds. Number 7. The unraveling. Peace slips through their fingers. A house built on sand doesn't collapse in the storm. It collapses in the silence after. That's where they are now, my friends. At first, after rejecting you, they strutted like they'd built their house on rock. They thought they were free, thought they were steady, thought they'd gained peace. But silence doesn't storm in with chaos. It creeps in quietly, slowly, unshakably, and little by little their foundation begins to crack. That's what's happening right now. Their world is unraveling, not with noise, but with the silent weight of your absence pressing down on every corner of their life. At first, they thought it was simple. They thought walking away from you would feel like breathing again, like dropping a weight they carried too long. They thought they'd laugh more, feel lighter, live better. But here's the irony. What they thought was the weight was actually the wings. You weren't holding them down. You were the one lifting them up. And now that you're gone, now that your silence fills the space, life doesn't feel lighter. It feels hollow. Their days don't feel free. They feel fragile. Picture this, folks. A sweater begins to unravel. Not all at once, not in a dramatic tear, but with one small thread. At first it doesn't seem like much, just a loose piece hanging there. They tug at it, thinking it's nothing. But slowly, stitch by stitch, the sweater begins to fall apart until the whole thing is useless. That's what your silence is doing to them now. It started as just a thread, quiet, calm, unspoken. But over time, the stitches of their confidence, their pride, their illusions are coming undone. They can't stop it. They can't patch it. They can only watch it unravel in their own hands. And here's the cruelest part for them. It's not happening in public. It's happening when no one is watching. To the world, they look fine. Better than fine. They're still posting the pictures, still forcing the smiles, still laughing loudly in public spaces. But when the party ends, when the door closes, when the phone is face down and the room is dark, that's when silence walks in. That's when regret curls up next to them. That's when the unraveling begins again, thread by thread. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But they don't have power over their mind anymore. Your silence broke their illusion of control. Their thoughts run wild. Their regrets grow louder. Their questions grow heavier. Why aren't they reaching out? Why didn't they fight for me? Why do I feel emptier without them than I did with them? Did I just destroy something I can never rebuild? And because you remain silent, they don't get answers. They get echoes. They get scars. They get unraveling. Think of it like this. Imagine a boat drifting on the water. At first it feels exciting to let go of the anchor. They sail freely, no weight holding them down. But as time passes, the waves grow restless, the current unpredictable, and suddenly they realize the anchor wasn't a burden. The anchor was the only thing keeping them steady. And without it, the boat doesn't sail. It drifts, it wanders, it tips. That's what they're realizing now. You weren't the weight, you were the anchor, and without you, their peace isn't peace at all. It's drift. And here's what makes this phase brutal for them. Every little thing becomes a trigger. A song in the car reminds them of a memory they didn't want to remember. A smell in a store reminds them of the times you were close. A phrase someone else says echoes words you once spoke. And suddenly, silence isn't just outside, it's inside. It's everywhere. They can't escape it. They can't drown it. They can't outrun it. Because silence has become a mirror, and the unraveling has become their reality. But let me flip this to you now, my friends, because this is where your own struggle kicks in. You think, if they're unraveling, should I step in? Should I throw them a rope? Should I remind them of the love I gave? Should I be their comfort again? That's your old self talking, the version of you who thought love meant bleeding for someone else's wounds. The version of you who thought worth meant proving yourself over and over. But that version of you is gone. That version of you was silenced the moment you chose dignity over drama, peace over chaos, silence over noise. Remember this: the unraveling is not your burden. The unraveling is their consequence. You don't owe them comfort for scars they carved themselves. You don't owe them rescue from choices they proudly made. You don't owe them closure when your silence already gave them truth. This is their mirror to face, their sweater to unravel, their boat to drift. And if you interrupt the unraveling, you steal the lesson. You rob them of the weight that was meant to change them. And here's the motivational punch you need to hear. While their world unravels, yours is rebuilding. While their peace slips through their fingers, yours is growing stronger. While they're haunted by silence, you're empowered by it. Because silence doesn't just destroy what's weak, it builds what's strong. It's building you. It's teaching you discipline, self-respect, clarity. It's reminding you that you don't need noise to be noticed. You don't need validation to be valuable. You don't need to chase to be cherished. Let me give you one last metaphor, because this one seals it. Imagine a seed buried underground. From the surface, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks dark, empty, lifeless. But underground, the seed is breaking open, roots are growing, foundations are forming. That's you. You're the seed. Your silence is the soil. While they unravel above the ground, you're building strength beneath it. And one day you'll rise, not as who you were, but as something unshakable, undeniable, unforgettable. So here's your affirmation, my friends. Say it out loud. Write it in the comments so it echoes not just here, but in your own heart. Their unraveling is not my burden. 4 words that free you. 4 words that remind you of your strength. 4 words that separate their scar from your rebirth. And before we close this journey, let me ask you, did this message hit you? Did you feel the truth in your chest, the shift in your perspective, the weight of silence as power? If you did, I want you to press that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss the next truth we unpack together. And share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's still struggling to see silence, not as weakness, but as strength. Because this is the end of today's journey, but not the end of yours. Your silence is not just their scar, it's your rebirth. And the story of that rebirth is only beginning. I read somewhere that love is like Wi-Fi. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's weak, but we all start panicking the second we lose the signal. Pretty accurate, right? Folks, Let's be honest, in today's world, half of romance happens through our phones. The little glowing screen in your hand has replaced love letters, surprise knocks on the window, and late-night mixtapes. Now it's all about that one text, the one message that makes someone grin like a fool, roll over in bed and whisper, "Oh, this person is different." Now, I'm not talking about boring messages like good night or sweet dreams. My friends, those are the text equivalent of a plain slice of bread. Sure, it fills space, but where's the butter? Where's the jam? Where's the spice? The goal here isn't to put someone to sleep, it's to keep them awake, thinking about you. You don't want to be another name lost in the inbox graveyard. You want to be the thought that sneaks into their mind right as their head hits the pillow. Think about it. When the lights are off and the world is quiet, our brains go wild. It's like a movie theater in there. Memories, hopes, worries, random songs we don't even like, all playing on loop. That's your chance, folks. That's when a clever, playful, or sweet message can slip into their imagination like a catchy tune. And if you do it right, guess what? They'll be humming your song all night long. Most people mess this up because they think texting is just about words. They'll type "night, sleep well" and expect fireworks. Sorry to break it to you, but that's like showing up to a costume party wearing regular jeans. You won't get booed out, but nobody's going to remember you either. What you need is a spark, something unexpected, something that makes them laugh, blush, or scratch their head in the best way possible. Here's a little secret. Humans love curiosity. Curiosity is like chocolate cake. You can't resist taking at least one bite. A good night message that leaves a question mark in someone's head is way more powerful than a message that tries to wrap everything up in a bow. You don't have to be Shakespeare. You just have to be fun, confident, and a little unpredictable. It's like that famous line, "Don't count the days, make the days count." Same goes for texts. Don't just send a message to check the box. Send something that makes them feel something, something that paints a picture. Imagine texting, "Good night. Don't let your pillow get too jealous. I know I'm the one on your mind." Boom. Now their brain is juggling between the pillow, you, and the idea of missing you. That's not just a text. That's planting yourself in their late-night daydream. And listen, folks, you don't have to be smooth 24/7. Sometimes humor is the golden ticket. Throw in a silly metaphor like, "Good night. May your dreams be as sweet as donuts on a Monday morning." Who doesn't smile at that? It's light, it's fun, and most importantly, it's you. Because at the end of the day, texts don't have to be perfect. They just have to feel real. So why are we here? Simple. We're here to make sure you don't blend in. We're here to turn your messages into little treasures, into sparks that light up someone's imagination long after they've put down the phone. Because here's the truth. Ordinary messages get ignored. Memorable messages, they get replayed in someone's head again and again, like their favorite song stuck on repeat. By the end of this, you'll know 6 goodnight texts that aren't just goodnight texts. They're little magic tricks. They'll help you stand out, stay unforgettable, and maybe even become the reason someone wakes up smiling. So grab your metaphorical seatbelt, my friends, because we're about to upgrade your texting game forever. Message 1. Good night. I'll try not to show up in your dreams, but no promises. They say dreams are like free movies. The only problem is you never get to pick the genre. Sometimes it's action, sometimes it's horror, and sometimes it's just you running late to class, even though you graduated 10 years ago. But what if you could sneak yourself into someone else's dream? Imagine slipping into their midnight movie as a surprise guest star. That's exactly the energy behind the line. Good night. I'll try not to show up in your dreams, but no promises. Now, why does this work so well? Because most people play it way too safe with their texts. Good night, sweet dreams, sleep well. Those are fine, but let's be real, folks. They're the text version of plain boiled potatoes. Nothing wrong with potatoes, but they don't exactly set the room on fire. This line, though, this is potatoes turned into crispy fries with extra seasoning. Suddenly, the flavor wakes you up. Suddenly, it's something you remember. But here's the tricky part. Most folks are scared to send a text like this. They think, what if it sounds silly? What if they don't get it? What if they don't reply? Fear always tries to keep us in the land of boring. It whispers, just say something safe so you don't look dumb. But the truth is, safe texts are the ones people forget. It's like going to karaoke night and deciding not to sing because you don't want to embarrass yourself. Guess what? The person who belts out an off-key Bohemian Rhapsody gets remembered, cheered on, maybe even gets free nachos. Playing it safe gets you silence. Taking the risk gets you remembered. Think about how this message lands when they read it. Two things might happen. They might laugh and think, who does this person think they are? Or they might smile and secretly hope you do show up in their dreams. But here's the magic. You win in both cases. Because even if they're laughing at your boldness, they're still thinking about you. And the point of the game is to live rent-free in their mind, isn't it? It's like that annoying jingle from a commercial. You might roll your eyes at it, but you'll still be humming it in the shower. Let's zoom in on why it works. Our brains are addicted to curiosity. It's like chocolate cake. We know we don't need it, but we can't resist. A regular good night message closes the door. This one leaves it cracked open, just enough for their imagination to sneak through. It's a question without a question mark. Will they show up in my dream? What would that even look like? Suddenly you're not just a text. They're picturing you, imagining scenarios, creating stories around you. That's the power of suggestion. You're not forcing it. You're planting a seed, and their own imagination waters it. Of course, it feels bold, a little cheeky, but cheeky is good. Cheeky is memorable. Cheeky is that bright red hat in a sea of black baseball caps. People notice it. They whisper about it. They smile at it. Fortune favors the bold, my friends, and in texting, attention favors the bold too. Now, let's be honest, the reason many avoid sending something like this is fear of rejection. It's easier to type sleep well and hide behind normal, but what's the cost of being normal? Being forgotten. Nobody remembers the 10th person who texted sweet dreams, but they will remember the one who dared to say, I'll try not to show up in your dreams, but no promises. That's confidence, that's fun, and that's how you plant yourself in someone's thoughts. The funny thing is, people often mistake confidence for arrogance, but there's a huge difference. Arrogance says, you owe me attention. Confidence says, I know I'm worth your attention whether you give it or not. This line is confidence dressed up in playfulness. You're not begging for a response. You're not trying too hard. You're simply putting the idea out there, letting it float in their imagination and moving on with your night. That's powerful energy. Now let's talk about why it feels difficult at first, because stepping out of the safe zone always feels uncomfortable. It's like jumping into a cold pool. Your body screams, nope, get out, but give it a minute and suddenly you're swimming freely, wondering why you were scared in the first place. Sending a message like this is the same. At first, your brain panics. What if they don't reply? But here's the truth. You're not sending it for validation. You're sending it to show that you're different, that you're bold, that you refuse to be ordinary. Even if they don't reply, they'll remember it. And memory is more powerful than a quick emoji reaction. This is where you rise above the fear. You stop believing the lie that says, if I play it safe, I'll be liked. No, safe doesn't get you liked. Safe gets you ignored. It's the bold ones, the playful ones, the confident ones who leave a mark. And leaving a mark is the whole point. So let's flip the script. Instead of being afraid, what if you believed this? My words matter. My energy is different. My presence is unforgettable. That changes everything. Suddenly, a playful line becomes more than a text. It becomes a statement. It says, I'm not here to blend in. I'm here to stand out. I'm here to take up space in your thoughts. And folks, here's the best part. When they finally put down their phone and drift off to sleep, there's a good chance they'll actually dream about you. Not because you forced it, but because you suggested it. That's the magic of psychology. That's the magic of being clever, bold, and intentional. You're not just another voice in the noise. You're the spark, the story, the unforgettable line that echoes in their head long after the lights go out. Now here's what I want you to do. Say this with me. I am not here to be basic. I am here to be unforgettable. Write it in the comments. Don't just whisper it to yourself. Put it out there. Show yourself. Show me. Show the world around you that you've decided to stop blending in. Because once you claim it, you start living it. And stay with me, because this was just the first taste. If this one little line plants the seed of curiosity, the next one takes it to another level. Imagine not just showing up in someone's dream, but making them smile before they even open their eyes in the morning. That's where we're heading, my friends. Buckle up. The best is yet to come. Message 2. Rest well, but don't smile too much tomorrow thinking about me. Now, come on, folks. Tell me that doesn't sound like the kind of line you'd see scribbled on the bathroom wall of destiny. It's bold, it's cheeky, and it's the kind of playful confidence that makes someone stop, grin, and reread it just to make sure they caught it right. This isn't just another bedtime message. It's a statement, a little wink across the distance, a reminder that you're not just another name in their inbox. Most people, when they send a good night text, sound like they're reading off a Hallmark card. Good night. Sweet dreams. Talk tomorrow. Folks, that's like serving plain oatmeal for dessert. Sure, it's food, but nobody's raving about it later. This line, though, is different. It's the chocolate lava cake with the gooey center. It's the dish that people take a picture of before eating because it's just that memorable. And the beauty is, it's only one sentence long. Why does it hit so hard? Because you're doing two clever things at once. First, you're planting the idea that they'll be thinking about you. Second, you're making them smile in the exact moment they read it. That's like throwing a boomerang that hits twice, once now, once tomorrow, a double win. Now let's break down why most folks are too scared to send something like this. It all comes down to fear of being misunderstood. They worry, what if it sounds arrogant? What if they don't take it the right way? So instead of sending something bold, they water themselves down. They settle for safe. But safe is forgettable. Safe is invisible. Safe is being the extra in a movie when you were born to be the main character. The truth is, this message isn't arrogance at all. Arrogance says, you owe me your time. Confidence says, I know I'm worth your time. And this line is dripping with that second one. It doesn't demand attention, it assumes it. It's like walking into a room with your shoulders back and your smile easy. You're not yelling for people to notice you, but somehow they do. Confidence is magnetic, and this text radiates it. Picture this. They're lying in bed, scrolling through their phone. They read your message and their lips curl into a grin. And then a thought sneaks in. Why is this person so sure of themselves? Why do they sound like they already know I'll be smiling tomorrow? That tiny spark of curiosity is everything, because once they start thinking about you, really thinking, you've already set yourself apart from the endless stream of predictable, bland, cookie-cutter texts they're used to. Think of it like this. Everyone else is playing checkers, and you're over here playing chess. Everyone else is saying good night to close the conversation, but you're saying something that opens up a story in their head. That's how you move differently. That's how you stand out. And folks, let's not pretend it doesn't take guts. Sending something like this can feel like stepping onto a stage with a spotlight on you. Your heart might whisper, play it safe, don't risk it, just blend in. But let me ask you, when has blending in ever made anyone unforgettable? Safe is the path to being average. Bold is the path to being remembered. It's like that famous line, ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. You weren't built to hide in the safe harbor of generic texting. You were built to sail out, take risks, and leave ripples in someone else's thoughts. That's exactly what this message does. It sails straight into their imagination. And here's the kicker. You don't need them to reply right away for it to work. Whether they respond with a laughing emoji, a playful comeback, or even silence, the thought is planted. They'll still think about it tomorrow when they catch themselves smiling. They'll still wonder why you sounded so sure of yourself. That's power. Now let's flip the script for a moment. Why is it so difficult for people to embrace this kind of confidence? Because society conditions us to play small. From a young age, we're taught, don't brag, don't be too much, don't draw too much attention. And while humility is beautiful, shrinking yourself into invisibility isn't. People confuse humility with playing small. But folks, humility isn't saying, I'm not worth it. Humility is knowing you're worth it without needing to shout about it. This text is humble confidence at its best. It doesn't scream, look at me. It just casually strolls into their mind and sets up camp. And here's a little secret. People love being around others who know their value. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel excited. It makes them curious. That's why confidence is so attractive. It's not just about you. It's about how you make the other person feel. When they read a message like this, they feel like they're part of something fun, something light, something alive. That's the energy most people are starving for. Now, let's bring this home with some motivation. Imagine sending this tonight. Imagine the smile it causes. Imagine the ripple effect of one playful line that makes you unforgettable. You're not here to beg for attention. You're not here to blend into the sea of safe. You're here to shine a light, to leave a mark, to spark joy. And that spark is what sets you apart. So say it out loud with me. I will not be boring. I will not play it safe. I will be remembered. Write it in the comments. Claim it for yourself. Show me, show yourself. Show the world around you that you're done hiding in the shadows of average. Because once you declare it, once you step into it, you'll start living it. And my friends, don't get too comfortable yet. This was just message number 2. If you think planting the idea of tomorrow's smile is clever, wait until you see the next one. The next one takes the game from playful to downright unforgettable. You'll be painting pictures in their imagination they won't be able to erase. Stick with me. It only gets better from here. Message 3. Good night. I hope your pillow isn't jealous that I'm not there. Now tell me that doesn't sound like the kind of line that sneaks into your head and refuses to leave. It's silly, it's playful, and it's clever in a way that makes someone grin before they even realize they're grinning. And that's the magic of it. Because this isn't just a text. This is a little spark disguised as a bedtime message. Picture it. They're lying in bed, the room is dark, the glow of the phone is the only light. They're scrolling through all the usual notifications, maybe even yawning, ready to knock out for the night. Then they read your message. Suddenly, instead of closing their eyes, they're laughing quietly, maybe even shaking their head. Why? Not because the line itself is complicated. It's not. It's because of the energy behind it. Confidence, humor, a touch of cheekiness. It lands differently. It cuts through the ordinary like a bright neon sign flickering in the middle of a sleepy street. Most people don't think this way. They send texts that are safe, predictable, and, let's be honest, forgettable. Good night. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. Folks, those are the text equivalent of giving someone a plain cracker when they're craving dessert. Nobody remembers a cracker. But throw in this message and suddenly you're serving a midnight snack that makes them laugh and think at the same time. That's what makes it powerful. The brilliance of this line isn't just in what you say, it's in what you imply. You're not just wishing them good night, you're painting a picture, a pillow, jealous that it doesn't get to be you. That's a tiny little story in itself, and stories are sticky. People don't remember facts, they remember feelings tied to stories. When you send this, you're not just words on a screen, you become part of their imagination. You've walked into their bedtime story without needing an invitation. And let's be real, humor is one of the strongest doorways into connection. You can argue all day about what's attractive, but here's a universal truth. Laughter creates bonds. When someone makes you laugh, even for a moment, you feel a spark. It softens walls, it builds bridges, it makes space for curiosity. And curiosity is where deeper connection begins. This line does all of that with one playful sentence. Think about modern communication for a second. People are drowning in mediocrity. They're bombarded with notifications, texts, and messages that all sound the same. Half the time it feels like everyone is copying each other's scripts. That's why most messages vanish before the brain even registers them. This one doesn't vanish. It lingers. It's a pebble tossed into the pond of their mind, and the ripples stretch out long after they put their phone down. And here's what I love about it. It balances intimacy with innocence. You're not crossing any lines. You're not being too forward. You're teasing without trespassing. It's light-hearted, yet it carries that undertone of attraction. You didn't say, "I wish I was in your bed." That would be too blunt, too heavy. Instead, you let the image of a jealous pillow do the work. It's subtle, it's funny, and it leaves just enough blank space for their imagination to fill in the rest. That blank space is where the magic happens. Now, most people fail here because they over-explain. They spell out every thought like they're writing a manual. Good night, I wish I could be there beside you, holding you, blah, blah, blah. And what happens? The moment dies. The imagination is killed because you've left nothing for the other person to play with. But this message, it's different. It hands them a brush and says, "Here, you paint the rest of the picture." And trust me, they will. Of course, some of you might be thinking, but what if they don't respond? And my answer is, so what? This isn't about begging for validation. This isn't about fishing for a reply. It's about planting a seed. It's about showing you're different from the rest, showing you know how to stand out without trying too hard. Even if they don't text back, they'll remember it. They'll remember how it made them laugh. They'll remember how it made them feel. And in this world, feelings are the currency that matter. Fear keeps most people from sending messages like this. They're afraid of being too much. They're afraid of risking rejection. But playing it safe doesn't protect you. It erases you. Playing it safe is what keeps people stuck in the friend zone, sending safe little crumbs of good night texts that vanish into the void. Confidence is the ultimate aphrodisiac, and this message radiates confidence. It says, I know my worth. I don't need to be timid about it. That kind of energy is magnetic. It reminds me of that quote, life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. Well, so does connection. Step outside of safe and suddenly you're living. Suddenly you're being remembered. You don't get there by repeating the same sleep tight that everyone else sends. You get there by daring to be playful, daring to be different, daring to let your personality shine. And here's something else to chew on. People process the world through imagination, especially at night, when the day slows down and the brain starts wandering. When you give someone an image, like a pillow being jealous, they can't help but picture it. They see it, they smile at it, and for that moment, they feel something. That's your victory, because in the end, people don't remember texts word for word. They remember how those texts made them feel. So next time you hesitate, remind yourself of this. You're not here to be background noise. You're not here to blend in with the endless scroll of boring notifications. You're here to stand out. You're here to be remembered. You're here to make someone smile at their screen like they just read a secret joke meant only for them. Say this with me. I will not over-explain. I will not play it safe. I will spark emotions that last. Write it in the comments. Claim it. Show yourself. Show me and show the world around you that you're not afraid to be bold, not afraid to be playful, not afraid to step into the spotlight of their imagination. And don't get too comfortable, because this was just one line, one message, one tool in your arsenal. If you think a jealous pillow is powerful, wait until you see what comes next. The next one doesn't just make them laugh. It plants you so deep in their thoughts that they'll be telling stories about it the next morning. Buckle up, folks. We're just getting warmed up. Message 4. Good night. Let me know if I make a guest appearance in your dreams. Now, folks, admit it, that sounds less like a bedtime message and more like a movie trailer. You can almost hear the dramatic voiceover, coming soon to a dream near you. And that's the genius of this line. It's playful, it's bold, and it flips a simple good night into a full-on experience. Most people close their day with autopilot texts. Night. Sleep tight. Talk tomorrow. That's the texting version of shutting the door without even looking back. But you're not slamming doors. You're leaving windows cracked open for imagination to sneak in. You're giving them something to carry with them into sleep. And that's why this works. It's not just a text, it's an invitation. Let's imagine the scene. They're lying in bed, phone in hand, ready to swipe through the last few notifications. Suddenly, your message pops up. Let me know if I make a guest appearance in your dreams. What happens? Their eyebrows lift, their lips curl into a smile, and before they can help it, their mind starts wandering. Wait, why would I dream about them? What would that look like? And boom, you're not just in their phone anymore, you're in their head. That's the beauty of curiosity As the old saying goes, curiosity is the wick in the candle of learning, and in this case, curiosity is the spark that keeps you glowing in their imagination long after the screen goes dark. You're not handing them all the answers, you're letting them fill in the blanks. And folks, trust me, when people are left to imagine, they always create a story far more vivid than anything you could type out. Now, let's talk about why this takes confidence. Notice you're not asking, "Will you dream about me?" That's needy. That's uncertain. Instead, you're saying, "When you do, just let me know." That's bold. That's playful. That's the energy of someone who doesn't need approval because they already know their worth. And confidence like that, it's magnetic. It pulls people in without you needing to shout or beg. Here's the problem in today's world. Attention spans are shorter than a TikTok clip. Everyone is flooded with texts, memes, reels, emails, ding, ding, ding. You blink and a notification is buried under 5 more. If you want to stand out, you can't be safe. Safe gets lost. Safe is invisible. This line isn't safe. It's intriguing. It's short enough to remember, but clever enough to linger. And let me be clear. This isn't just about them. It's about you too. When you send something like this, you're showing the world who you are. You're showing that you're not just another copy-paste, boring texter. You're showing that you bring fun, creativity, and energy to even the smallest moments. And people notice. They notice when you're different. They notice when you make them feel alive. Think about it. What do people really crave in relationships? Not just someone to text, "How was your day?" 100 times. They crave energy. They crave novelty. They crave moments that make them laugh, wonder, and feel something. That's what this message does. It turns a regular good night into an adventure, into a thought experiment, into a smile that lasts longer than the text itself. But here's the kicker. This takes courage. Why? Because most people are afraid to be bold. They think, what if it's too much? What if they don't get it? So they play small. They send safe little lines that melt into the background. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Playing it safe is what keeps people average. Stepping out of the comfort zone, that's what creates impact. It reminds me of the quote, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." This message, it's a shot worth taking, because even if they don't reply right away, you've already won. You've planted a seed. You've made them think. And even silence, in this case, doesn't erase the fact that your words are echoing in their imagination. That's the power of suggestion. And let's break a myth while we're here. Some people believe you need paragraphs, endless explanations, or over-the-top compliments to grab attention. Wrong. In fact, the less you say, the more powerful it can be. When it's said right. A single clever line carries more weight than 10 desperate ones. Why? Because it leaves space for imagination, and imagination multiplies impact. So what's really happening when you send this? You're turning a one-way message into a two-way experience. You're saying something that asks them to play along. And folks, humans love to play. That's why games, jokes, and teasing banter are so powerful in connection. It's not about the words, it's about the shared energy they create. Now, let's motivate you a little. Think about the choice you have every night. You can either send a text that disappears in seconds, or you can send a text that makes someone carry you into their dreams. You can either blend in with the crowd, or you can be the spark that stands out. And the difference isn't hard work. It's one line, one playful shift, one moment of courage to type something different. Say this with me. I will not be safe. I will not be boring. I will be remembered. Write it in the comments. Show yourself, show me, and show the world that you're not afraid to step outside the box. Because once you own that, once you believe that, you'll never look at communication the same way again. And folks, don't think this is the end. Oh no, we're just getting started. If you think appearing in someone's dreams is bold, wait until you see what comes next. The next message doesn't just invite them to imagine, it makes them wake up with a smile and immediately think of you. It's not just about the night anymore, it's about planting yourself into the very first thought of their morning. Stay tuned, because the ride only gets more exciting from here. Message 5. If you wake up with a smile, you'll know who caused it. Now that's not just a text, folks. That's a little magic trick you're dropping into someone's morning routine. You're basically saying, hey, if you feel good tomorrow, don't be surprised if I'm the reason. It's playful, it's confident, and it makes you sound like the kind of person who sneaks joy into someone's day without even trying. Let's play out the scene. The alarm clock is buzzing, the sun is peeking through the blinds, and they're reaching for their phone with half-closed eyes. Notifications are stacked, emails, social media alerts, maybe a weather warning saying it's going to rain again, and then they see your message. Simple, short, cheeky. If you wake up with a smile, you'll know who caused it. Suddenly the grogginess fades just a little. Suddenly they're smiling at the phone before they've even brushed their teeth. That's the power of planting seeds, my friends. Because let's be real, most people don't think like this. Most people think connection is about doing the most, sending long, dramatic paragraphs, or overloading someone with constant attention. They believe the louder they are, the more they'll be remembered. But here's the truth. It's not the noise that gets remembered, it's the subtle spark, the small gesture that carries weight. Sometimes it's the feather, not the hammer, that leaves the biggest mark. And this text? It's feather-light, yet it lands heavy in the heart. It tells them something without needing to over-explain. I matter in your world. I influence your mood. I bring joy into your life. That's not arrogance. That's playful confidence, the kind that doesn't scream, pick me, but instead whispers, you'll think of me anyway. And whispers, by the way, often echo louder than shouts. Think about it. How many people are in their inbox? Dozens, hundreds, and how many of those people are actually making them feel something? Not many. Most are sending good night, good morning, wide, and sleep tight. Folks, that's not communication, that's background noise. But when you send this line, you're saying, I'm not here to fill space. I'm here to create a moment, and people don't forget moments. Here's the psychological side of it. Humans are wired to attach to emotions, not logic. They remember how you made them feel, not necessarily what you said. This text is simple, but it digs into that subconscious part of the brain that ties experiences with feelings. Tomorrow, when they smile, even if it's because of a funny dream, a good breakfast, or sunshine, they'll remember you told them they would smile because of you. And suddenly, you're stitched into their morning like coffee or toothpaste. That's how you anchor yourself in someone's daily rhythm. It's almost like planting a flag in their subconscious. You're not asking for credit, you're claiming it before it even happens. And that's where the confidence shines. You're not saying, I hope I make you smile. You're saying, when you smile, remember me. There's no begging, no seeking approval, just assurance. And assurance, folks, is magnetic. Now let's bust a myth here. People think being unforgettable means making grand gestures, flowers at the office, expensive dinners, over-the-top declarations. Sure, those things might work in the movies, but in real life is about consistency in the little things. The tiny, thoughtful moments that cut through the noise. A single line, timed perfectly, can outshine 100 roses wilting in a vase. Why? Because it's unexpected, it's clever, and it feels real. And let's not forget the humor woven in here. It's cheeky without being over the top. You're not saying, "You can't live without me." You're saying, "Hey, if you feel good, maybe I had a hand in that." It's like the wink at the end of a joke. Not pushy, just playful. And people love playful. Because playful feels safe, but it also feels alive. It says you're someone who doesn't take life too seriously, but you also know the power you bring. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what if they don't reply? And here's the answer. Who cares? You didn't send it for the reply. You sent it for the impression. You sent it to show confidence, to plant a seed. And seeds don't sprout overnight, folks. Sometimes they take a little water, a little time. But once they grow, they're not forgotten. That's the beauty of this. Even without a reply, you win. Because your words are alive in their head. It reminds me of that line. People may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. That's exactly what this message does. It makes them feel. It attaches you to something warm and light-hearted. And even if they don't consciously say, "Wow, that was clever," their subconscious is connecting dots. This person makes me smile. And that's a bond stronger than any essay of compliments could build. But here's the truth that scares most people. Subtlety requires courage. It's easy to over-explain. It's easy to dump words hoping something sticks. It's harder to trust that one short, confident line will carry the weight. But that's the very thing that separates the unforgettable from the forgotten. Most people are afraid to risk simplicity, but simplicity done right is power. So let me turn the question on you, my friends. Are you brave enough to send a line like this? Brave enough to keep it short, to keep it light, and to trust the impact it will leave? Or will you keep hiding behind the safe, predictable "good night" and "sweet dreams"? The choice is yours. Safe keeps you invisible. Bold makes you unforgettable. Say this with me. I am the reason for smiles. I plant seeds of joy everywhere I go. Write it in the comments. Don't just whisper it, claim it. Show yourself, show me, and show the world around you that you're not afraid to step into that role. Because once you start believing you are someone who makes people smile, guess what? You become that person. And remember, folks, this was just one move in your playbook. If you thought influencing someone's morning mood was powerful, wait until you see the final message. The last one doesn't just make them smile. It gives them an open invitation, a doorway back to you anytime they need. That's where the real connection deepens. So don't go anywhere, because the best is yet to come. Message 6. Good night. If you can't sleep, you know where to find me. Folks, let's pause here and really look at this. That's not just a text. That's not just a string of words thrown into someone's inbox. That's an invitation, a doorway, a little glowing nightlight left on in case they want to wander back to you. And that's why it works. It's not pushy, it's not needy, it's not over the top. It's calm, it's confident. It's the kind of line that doesn't chase, but still stays unforgettable. Think about how rare that balance is. Most people fall into extremes. On one end, you've got the ones who come on too strong, sending 10 good night texts, over-explaining, begging for replies, trying to fill every silence with words. On the other end, you've got the ones who disappear completely, saying nothing, leaving the other person wondering if they even care. Both of those extremes are exhausting. But this line, it's the sweet spot, right in the middle. It's like Goldilocks porridge, just right. Why? Because it whispers reassurance while sprinkling in a hint of mystery. It says, I'm here if you want me. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to vanish, but I'm right here if you reach out. That's powerful. Because deep down, people crave two things: safety and intrigue. They want to know they have a soft place to land, but they also want to feel a spark, a little curiosity, a little sense of adventure. This text does both. Now let's imagine the moment. It's late. The room is dark. They've tossed and turned, stared at the ceiling, flipped their pillow to the cool side 3 times. Their brain is buzzing with thoughts, work stress, random memories, that embarrassing thing they said in 3rd grade that still haunts them. Then they see your message glowing on their screen. If you can't sleep, you know where to find me. And suddenly the room feels lighter. Suddenly they're not alone in their restlessness. You've opened a window in their mind that says, it's okay, you're not by yourself in this moment. That's why it works. It's not just a text, it's a comfort blanket disguised as words. It tells them you're present without crowding them. It's like leaving your porch light on. You're not dragging them inside, but you're saying, if you want to stop by, the door's unlocked. That kind of steady confidence is rare, and rare things always grab attention. Here's the kicker. This line isn't just about them. It's also about you. It shows that you're the type of person who doesn't panic in silence. You don't need constant validation. You don't feel threatened by giving someone space. That's emotional intelligence, folks. That's knowing when to lean in and when to lean back. And trust me, people notice that. They feel it. It's magnetic because it's mature. Think about modern communication for a second. It's noisy out there. Notifications, memes, likes, comments. It's all surface-level chatter. Most people don't even remember half the conversations they had yesterday. But when someone finds a message that feels intentional, calm, and thoughtful, it cuts through the static like a lighthouse beam in a storm. That's what this line is, a lighthouse. Guiding, steady, always there if needed. But here's something to chew on. Why is it so hard for people to send something this simple? Why do most stick to the generic good night or avoid sending anything at all? The answer is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of being ignored, fear of looking like they care too much, so they settle for safe, bland, forgettable texts, or worse, silence, and then they wonder why nothing memorable ever happens. But you, my friends, you're learning how to break that cycle. You're learning that a simple, confident invitation like this is not weakness. It's strength. It's not saying, please like me. It's saying, I know my value. I'm available, but only on my terms. And that subtle shift changes everything. It flips the script from chasing to attracting. Let's go deeper. When someone reads this, curiosity kicks in. They start asking questions in their own mind. What would happen if I text back? Would we stay up talking? Would it be fun? Would it feel different? And curiosity, as I've said before, is like an itch. You can't ignore it for long. By planting that question in their head, you're making sure you stay on their mind long after they've put the phone down. Now let's add a little humor, because humor always seals the deal. This text is basically like saying, hey, I'm the 24-hour diner of comfort, open all night, but only if you're hungry. Or, I'm the midnight radio station, always on, always smooth, always there when the silence feels too loud. See what I mean? It's not needy, it's not clingy, it's just available. And availability with confidence is one of the most underrated superpowers in human connection. And here's the motivational truth behind it. When you start sending messages like this, you're training yourself to communicate from a place of worth, not fear. You're learning that you don't need to overcompensate. You don't need to prove yourself with long essays or desperate jokes. Sometimes all it takes is one confident sentence to show the world who you are. So let me ask you, are you willing to be that steady, confident presence? Are you willing to be the lighthouse instead of the flashing neon sign? Because people don't remember the neon after the lights go out. They remember the steady glow that guided them home. Say this out loud with me. I am a safe space. I am confident in silence. I am unforgettable in simplicity. Now write it in the comments. Claim it. Don't just read these words. Declare them. Show yourself. Show me. Show the world around you that you're done hiding behind fear, done drowning in the noise of generic words. You're stepping into the power of intention. And let's stir some curiosity before we close, because while this message is the closer, the ultimate good night, it's also the beginning of something deeper. If one sentence can keep someone awake wondering about you, imagine what the rest of your conversations could do. Imagine the doors this opens, the stories this builds, the late-night laughs and the early morning smiles. This is just the first brick in a house you're building. So the next time you're about to type out "good night," pause, remember what you've learned here, then send the line that says more than just "sleep well." Send the line that lingers, that comforts, that sparks curiosity. Send. Good night. If you can't sleep, you know where to find me. And trust me, my friends, when they read it, they'll know exactly where their thoughts are headed, straight to you. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. What happens after the silence when the day ends and the room gets quiet? Here's the truth most people won't say out loud. The night doesn't lie. It takes off the mask. It shows what the heart has been hiding. And when they miss you, my friends, that silence turns into an echo they can't mute. Real quick, before we dive in, press the like button and subscribe. It helps more brothers find this message. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will change how you see the whole game. Hey folks, imagine this. The world is dark, the city noise fades, and a phone screen glows like a tiny moon on a nightstand. They stare at your name, they hover, they type, they erase. It's like watching a movie where the hero can't say the one line that frees them. The room is quiet, but their heart is loud. Memory turns into a projector. Your laugh, your calm voice, the way you didn't chase, the way you didn't break. That's the scene playing on repeat. Think of silence like the ocean at midnight. No waves on the surface, but deep below, currents move with force. That's how missing you works. On the surface, they look fine, strong, busy, distant. But under the surface, there's a pull they didn't plan for. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You didn't try to control them. You controlled you. And that, my friends, is why the night brings you back into their mind. Here's the lie we're breaking today. If you don't reach out, they'll forget you. No, when you act with discipline, you don't disappear. You become clear, like the moon. It never chases the night, yet it still lights it. Your steady presence made an imprint. Your absence now outlines that shape. Daytime pride says, "I'm fine." Nighttime truth whispers, "I miss him." Let's add a little humor. You know that awkward moment when someone lies flat, staring at the ceiling fan like it's auditioning for a helicopter role? That's what happens when distraction fails. The playlist doesn't fix it. The show doesn't numb it. The scroll doesn't save it. The mind keeps returning to the one thing it doesn't want to face. You moved with calm. You didn't argue with silence. You partnered with it. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." You reacted with composure. You didn't beg. You didn't break. You didn't try to bargain with your worth. And that's why, at night, you become the echo. Your peace grows taller in their memory. Your restraint becomes rare. Rare becomes valuable. Value becomes unforgettable. My friends, here's the simple map for tonight. Hold your line. Let the silence do its work. Don't rush to fill it. Don't try to rescue someone from their own pride. Your job is your character. Your mission is your peace. If they reach out, you will still be you, calm, grounded, and clear. If they don't, you will still be you, calm, grounded, and clear. That is freedom. That is power. That is how you win without games. Now breathe, shoulders down, jaw relaxed. You are not missing out. You are leveling up. The night is not your enemy. It is your witness. It shows them what your presence felt like and what your absence means. Stay with me, because we're about to go deeper into what they feel, why they hesitate, and how your discipline turns silence into gravity. Type this in the comments to lock it in. Calm over chaos. Press the like button, hit subscribe, and stay with me. Number 1. The echo of silence. Silence is a source of great strength. Silence has always been misunderstood, my friends. People think silence means weakness, distance, or even loss. But that's a lie. Silence is not absence. Silence is presence magnified. It's the moment when words stop, but the heart starts speaking louder. After the noise of the day fades, after all the scrolling, talking, and pretending has been done, the echo of silence begins to thunder. That's when they feel it most. That's when the stillness that surrounds them becomes a mirror reflecting back everything they've been running from. Imagine this, a city at night. Streets empty, stores closed, the chaos of the day replaced by quiet stillness. It looks peaceful, but beneath that calm is a restlessness, the sound of their own mind refusing to sleep. They toss and turn. They stare at the ceiling like it's about to reveal an answer. They roll over, check the phone, scroll through old conversations, stop at your name, but don't press send. The world may think they're strong, that they've moved on, that your silence doesn't matter. But the truth, my friends, is far louder in the dark. When no one is watching, that's when the missing becomes undeniable. And here's the question they can't escape. Why does the silence hurt more than words ever did? Why does the absence echo louder than the presence? The fear rises because silence leaves space for truth. During the day, they drown it out. They distract themselves with work, with friends, with laughs that don't last. But at night, the noise fades. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And that's when your absence fills the room. Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. They cannot choose your silence. They cannot control your calm." And that's exactly what unsettles them. They feel the weight of something they can't bend, can't sway, can't dictate. Because deep down, they realize that silence isn't empty. It's full of their own longing. Think of it this way. Silence is like a canyon. At first it seems hollow, but once you step into it, every sound, every whisper, every thought echoes back louder. That's what happens to them in the quiet hours. Their thoughts of you echo against the walls of their mind, getting louder each time. They think of the steadiness you carried, the times you didn't lose yourself in emotion, the discipline you showed when most would have folded. They replay moments they didn't value then. But now, in the canyon of silence, those memories boom like thunder. Here's the lie they told themselves: if I stay quiet long enough, I'll forget. But silence doesn't erase, it amplifies. They told themselves time will numb it. But time without healing only sharpens the ache. They told themselves, I don't need them. But night strips away the mask, and the truth comes forward raw. They feel the loss, they feel the echo, they feel the power of your calm. And this is where many of you, my friends, struggle. You think silence means you're losing. You think the lack of a message, the lack of a call, the lack of noise means they've forgotten you. But no, silence is doing its work. Just as the moon doesn't chase the night but still lights it, your silence lights their world in a way your noise never could. They can push it down all day long, but when they're alone, the silence rises like a tide, pulling them back into memories of you. Why is it so hard for them? Because silence is truth, and truth is heavy. They start asking questions they don't want to face. What if I pushed away someone irreplaceable? What if I misjudged strength for indifference? What if their calm means they no longer need me? These questions haunt them because silence offers no comfort, no excuses, no distractions. Silence simply holds up a mirror and says, "Look." Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. And that's exactly what silence is. You're not playing games. You're not fighting noise with noise. You're not proving, chasing, or begging. You're simply being. And in that stillness, you reveal what words could never say, that your worth was never tied to their recognition, that you stand steady, with or without their validation. And here's the motivational truth you need to hear, my brothers. While they lie awake, tossing and turning in the echo of silence, you rest. While they fear the meaning of your calm, you build strength from it. While they replay memories trying to find clarity, you live in clarity. Your silence is not emptiness, it's discipline. Your silence is not weakness, it's mastery. Your silence is not loss, it's legacy. So when you think of the echo of silence, don't see it as a void. See it as a stage where they are confronted by what they lost and what you gained. Don't run to break it. Don't rush to fill it. Hold your line, because the more you stand in your peace, the louder your presence becomes in their restless nights. Now let me ask you folks, have you ever noticed how silence says more than any words ever could? Have you ever felt the power of not reacting, not chasing, and watching that calm echo louder than noise? That's your strength. That's your weapon. That's your freedom. Write this in the comments to lock it in. Silence is my strength. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you are no longer moved by chaos. And stay with me, because what comes next will reveal how memory itself becomes your ally when the night grows heavy. Number 2, memories that refuse to fade. It is not what we get, but what we become, what we contribute, that gives meaning to our lives. Epictetus. My friends, here's the truth no one dares to admit. Silence may echo, but memories scream. After the silence does its work, when the noise of the world fades and the room grows darker, something happens inside them. Memories begin to crawl out of the corners of their mind. Not big, grand memories, no. That's the part that hurts the most. It's the little ones, the tiny details, the ones they thought they could brush off but now refuse to fade. Imagine this. They're lying in bed, the glow of the screen dimming, the ceiling fan cutting through the air like the ticking of a clock. They tell themselves they're fine, but the stillness betrays them. Out of nowhere, a scene replays. Your laugh at the table, the way you carried yourself when chaos tried to shake you, the calm you had when others would have exploded. Suddenly these moments feel bigger than life. Ordinary at the time, unforgettable now. It's like a movie projector that won't shut off. The reel keeps spinning. Every detail sharpens. Your voice, your patience, even your silence in arguments where you chose composure over conflict. During the day, they can bury these images with distractions, but at night, memory becomes merciless. They scroll through old photos, hover over your name in messages, maybe even type a line before deleting it. But the hesitation itself is proof that the memories are stronger than their pride. Here's the question they can't escape. Why do these memories refuse to fade? The answer is simple, because calm leaves an imprint. Noise may fade, but steadiness gets carved into the heart. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." And in their mind, it's not the events that replay, it's your reactions. It's your composure. It's the way you stood still when most would have crumbled. That's what refuses to die in memory. Think of memory like ink dropped into water. At first, it's a small dot, barely noticeable, but over time it spreads, coloring everything. That's what's happening to them. A glance across the table becomes a wave of longing. The way you listened without judgment becomes a ghost that lingers. The patience you carried becomes a fire they can't put out. The ink of memory has seeped too deep, and now the water of their mind is tinted by you. But here's the lie they told themselves: I won't remember the small things. They thought they could erase you with time, with noise, with pride, but memory doesn't work that way. You see, my friends, memory is not controlled by willpower, it's triggered by emotion. And the stronger the calm you carried, the deeper it imprinted. They may delete photos, clear chats, even unfollow you, but memory doesn't live in the phone, it lives in the heart. This is why in the silence of night they feel restless, because they're not fighting you, they're fighting themselves. Every time they replay your patience, your calmness, your steadiness, they realize something painful. They didn't value it when they had it, and that realization bites harder in silence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." At night, their soul is dyed with the color of memory. And those thoughts? They paint you in sharper strokes than you were ever painted before. What seemed ordinary is now extraordinary. What seemed small is now irreplaceable. That's why they can't sleep. That's why they turn over again and again, chasing comfort they can't find. But let's pause here, my brothers, and ask the tough question. Why is it so hard for them to let go? Because the mind doesn't replay what was replaceable. It replays what was rare. And rarity doesn't fade. You didn't scream to be heard. You didn't fight to be noticed. You stood calm. And in a world of noise, calm is priceless. That's why memory refuses to release it. Picture this. They're sitting in the dark, phone in hand. Their thumb hovers over your name. They think about sending a message, just one, a simple "hey." But then pride whispers, "Don't give in." So they lock the phone. But 2 minutes later, it's back in their hand. That tug of war isn't about the message. It's about memory. The memories they can't erase, the scenes they can't silence, the imprint they can't deny. Here's where you need to rise above the trap most men fall into. Too many brothers break the silence first. They think, if I just remind them, they'll remember me. But no, memory is already working for you. You don't need to remind them. You already live rent-free in their head. Your calm, your composure, your discipline, it's already on repeat. All you need to do is hold your peace. Let memory do the chasing. Seneca warned, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." That's exactly their torment. They suffer in imagination. They imagine you with someone else. They imagine losing you forever. They imagine what life would look like if they had chosen differently. The irony? You're not suffering. You're not replaying the past. You're not living in memory. You're living in today, and that contrast makes you unforgettable. And that's the lesson here. A Stoic doesn't live in what was or what if. A Stoic lives in what is. They toss and turn, trapped in replay. You rest, grounded in reality. They imagine storms. You stand as the calm sea. That contrast haunts them more than any text, any call, any chase ever could. So my friends, when you think about memory refusing to fade, see it for what it is, not a burden, but a gift. It means you left a mark. It means you lived with such strength, such calm, such mastery, that even in your absence you remain present. That's power. That's legacy. That's why you don't need to fight to be remembered. You already are. Now let me turn it back to you. Have you ever noticed how someone's absence felt louder than their presence? How a memory could burn sharper at night than reality ever did in the day? That's the proof of impact. That's the echo of calm. Write this in the comments to remind yourself and the world around you. My calm leaves a mark. Type it, own it, and let it sink into your bones. Because what comes next, my friends, will take us deeper into the battle they fight between pride and heart. A battle you don't need to fight at all, because silence already won it for you. Number 3, the clash of pride and heart. Pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. My friends, here's where the battle really begins. Pride versus heart. It's an invisible war, and it's one they cannot escape when silence settles in. By day, pride is the armor. It keeps them looking strong, untouchable, and in control. They laugh with friends, bury themselves in work, scroll endlessly, and convince themselves they don't care. But at night, when the lights are off and the world grows still, the armor cracks. The whispers of the heart grow louder than the shouts of pride. And that's when the clash begins. Picture it. They lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, phone in hand. Pride whispers, "Don't break, don't reach out, don't lose." But the heart aches, just one message, just one call, just a glimpse of the calm you used to bring. It's like watching two armies collide inside one soul. Pride marches with flags of ego, while the heart bleeds with longing. And no matter how hard they fight, the silence magnifies the struggle. The truth is, this war is exhausting. Pride tells them they are winning by holding back. But the heart knows they are losing, piece by piece, to the echo of what you once were in their life. Every time they scroll past your name without pressing it, they feel both victorious and defeated. Victorious because pride survives another night. Defeated because the heart feels heavier, weighed down by longing it can't bury. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the irony. They don't have power over your silence. They don't control your calm. And that lack of control is what gnaws at them. Their pride can stop their finger from tapping your name, but it cannot stop the memory that haunts them. Their pride can keep them quiet, but it cannot silence the ache in their chest. Imagine pride as a tall wall. From the outside, it looks unshakable, smooth stone, no cracks, reaching high into the sky. But inside that wall is the heart, pounding against it, desperate to be heard. The louder the heart beats, the more cracks appear. At night, in the silence, those cracks spread. And through them seeps truth. The truth that they miss you, the truth that they long for the calm they lost. The truth that your silence isn't weakness, it's strength. Here's the lie pride feeds them. If you stay silent, you'll win. But win what? They might keep their ego intact, but the cost is sleepless nights, restless thoughts, and a heart that refuses to let go. Pride convinces them that reaching out is surrender. But the real surrender is happening inside, every time their heart whispers louder than their ego. And you, my friends, you must not join this war. Too many men crumble here. They sense the clash and rush in, thinking, if I just break the silence, if I just send a message, I'll ease their suffering and I'll prove my worth. No, that is a trap. Your silence is already doing its work. Your calm is already the storm in their mind. To rush in is to rob silence of its power. To chase is to hand pride the victory it doesn't deserve. Epictetus taught, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. That's exactly what's happening. Pride fuels imagination. What if he's moved on? What if he doesn't think of me at all? What if I lost something I can't replace? These are not real problems, they are imagined anxieties. Yet those anxieties torment them more than reality ever could. And while they spiral, you remain still. Think of yourself as the mountain in their storm. Winds howl, rain lashes, lightning flashes, but the mountain does not move. They expect you to crumble, to chase, to prove yourself. When you don't, the storm doesn't stop. It intensifies inside them. The heart presses harder, pride resists stronger, and the more they battle, the more your calm becomes unforgettable. Why is this clash so powerful? Because silence strips away excuses. During the day, pride has allies: noise, distraction, attention. At night, those allies retreat. Pride is left to fight alone against the heart, and the